What's up, guys? It's McNulty back again, and we have a part two to this morning's video because we actually had a couple heroes that are released into this portal today as well that we did not have a look at, and those are the Slayers. And I wasn't aware that they were going to be released today. I have seen and heard that they are going to be coming out, but here they are, live and direct. So we're going to have a look at Saoirse. I can't remember how you say her name. And also Caitlin as well, because they're brand new costumes that have been released into this portal. So with Saoirse to start off with, she's looking amazing. I mean, I do like what they've done with the art. I've always liked the art on the Slayers heroes, but I mean, yeah, they seem to be taking things to another level, which is decent. I can see we've got a class switch around there for her as well. So she was of the fighter class. She's now going to be a paladin, which is more defensive. And then just to recap again, the Slayer family bonus. I think this is going to be very strong, especially if their stats are relevant now. They get a bonus from a single hero to 3 heroes, anywhere from 50% to 100% chance to receive the following stacks at the end of each turn. So the first one is a stack where the caster receives 15 HP each turn. And the second one is a stack, which I think is better, where the caster gets 6% mana generation every turn. And that's got well, if you have 3 of them, it's 100% every single turn you're going to be increasing your mana generation. So I really, really like that, considering the stats are going to be where they need to be. Costume bonus wise, with the costume, you're going to get a 40% attack, defense, and health bonus. And you're getting a 5% mana bonus, which is also super important. In the terms of the Slayer speed, it should then mean that 5% mana bonus puts them on par with the average speed heroes with a relatively low mana troop, because the Slayer speed was just slightly faster than slow speed. So now with that 5% bonus, I believe you should be able to get these heroes off pretty easily within average speed, definitely with a bard, but that you should be able to do it without one, with a high level mana troop. I'm not sure you will with a legendary troop. I think with a legendary troop, you're going to need a bard. And then the passives. So the first one, status element damage reduction. So any damage caused by status elements is reduced by 50%. Very, very strong, since we have a lot of status element dealers, especially you've even got the mega minion dealers that deal out bleed damage as well. If you can reduce any of that by half, then it's a good thing. The passive against bleed, or with bleed. So when the character casts their special skill, all enemies receive 600 bleed damage over 4 turns. Again, super strong amount of bleed damage, like 150 per turn, every turn for 4 turns. In terms of stats, let's switch off the max power. So 1085, really respectable stats. Very defensive, actually. I'm not sure she was that defensive before. She was pretty defensive, but now even more so. So 917 attack, 1,227 on the defense, and 2,116 on health. Makes for a very stocky and strong survivable character. But the attack stats probably lacking quite a lot. So in terms of what she's doing, her special skill was called Fracturing Slash, and she used to deal 315% damage to the target nearby. And when she came out, that was a heck of a lot of damage. Not so much nowadays, especially running at almost slow speed. The target nearby then get negative 54% defense for 3 turns, and she gets 2 stacks where she gets the caster gets, stack plus 2. So the caster gets 12% mana generation. And then a stack of the caster recovers 15% HP each turn. So basically it's like the the family bonus, except she gets it twice on that first stack. So the mana generation for her is going to increase much more rapidly than a lot of the other heroes. But the main thing is the target nearby getting a decent amount of damage and getting a huge 54% defense down. So let's have a look at the costume. So she's now going to deal 335% damage to the target and nearby enemies. And the target nearby get negative 44% defense for 3 turns. So the defense down is quite a bit lower, but the damage has ramped up a little bit. And then the caster gets 18% mana generation. That's a huge stack. So it says effects only mana generated from matching tiles, etc. But still, she's going to get a huge increase in her mana generation now, and she's going to recover 30 HP each turn, which I could probably do without. I mean, I really like the costume, but to be honest, with the attack stat being what it is, and also the amount of defense down, where you've got negative 54% in the regular version, I think, and also the class, you've got the fighter class. So I think if I was to pull the costume, I would love the costume. However, I would probably still use the original version. If she does also get that bleed on special skill, I think it shows without it, but it'll probably be with it. So yeah, I do like the costume for Saoirse. I think she's going to be a pretty brutal hero with a decent hit, and you can speed her up nicely now with that mana generation bonus. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I think she's pretty damn decent. Let's have a look at our other heroes. So we've got Caitlyn in here as well. Now she's now of the fighter class. It looks like she's dyed her hair and traded in her old cross for a nice new shiny gold one. So yeah, I do like the way she looks. In terms of the fighter class, it gives her now the chance to revive, where she did have the wizard class, which gives her the jinx, dispelling buffs, etc. She was a buff dispeller, so that kind of can work with her. And I believe she's still going to be a buff dispeller. So would you rather have the wizard or the fighter? It's really difficult for me to say. I probably rather have the fighter, especially on defense. She's going to get the same costume bonuses, so we won't go over that again. And then the dual passive, she's going to get the same dual passives as well. And that bleed damage, as we've seen, ramps up to, well, 696. I don't believe that was exactly the same. Sorry to do this to you guys. I just want to double check just to make sure here. It may be based, it can't be based around speed. So let's just check. 600 bleed damage over 4 turns. And then Caitlyn has got 696. So yeah, that's a bit strange. I'm not sure why, because they are at exactly the same speed, but it seems Caitlyn's getting a higher amount of bleed damage output. The other status element damage reduction is still exactly the same. And she gets the defense up on the ether talent, which is a decent one. I really do like defense up because it just makes them stick around a bit longer. Now let's switch off max power and we'll have a look what she's working with. So again, 1084, but this time much more balanced stats. So 1075 attack, 1064 defense, and 2038 health. So I like this a bit more so far. In terms of the special skill, it was dispelling willpower. So it was dispels buff from all enemies and deals 180% damage to all enemies, additional 20% damage per removed status effect, up to 340 damage in total. And then she got the mana generation stack and +2 on the HP stack. So she wasn't quite as good as Saoirse because she wasn't getting the +2 on the mana generation stack, which is kind of what you wanted, but it still works. They still increase their mana generation, and she will do that with every turn. So she's now going to dispel buffs from all enemies still and deal 170% damage to all enemies. So 10% less, but she deals an additional 25% per removed status effect, up to 370% damage in total. And then now she gets that all-important 2-stack on the mana generation. So 12% mana generation every time she casts her special. Add that to the regular mana generation that she gets from the family bonus, which is cool. And then 3-stack on the 45 HP each turn. It's a really minimal amount of HP, so I wouldn't rely on that quite as much as the mana generation one. But overall, what are my thoughts on this hero? I mean, she's pretty much the same hero. She's got better stats and things like that, and I do like the passives and the bleed damage and stuff like that, but I just don't know if she's going to be quite as effective as Saoirse because, things like defense down is a more timeless skill. I mean, priority dispel is good, and the fact that you can speed it up. So I'm thinking as a priority dispeller, I would probably give her quite a bit of value for that. But in terms of the damage, you're not always going to trigger that much damage up to 370% because a lot of the time, you're not going to have that many buffs to dispel. But I do think she's going to be really good on defense, especially in the costume version. So if you put her on a defensive team, put her somewhere like the left flank, so she can priority dispel any buffs, deal a little bit of damage, and then set it up to where your hitters are going to be able to take care of the rest of business and finish the job. Then I think she's going to be a good and usable hero. So yeah, I like Caitlyn. I like them both actually. I mean, I like every single hero in this portal except for this weird looking dude because I just don't see the point of him. But yeah, I think that is every single hero. I'm just literally double checking. But now we've had a look at all of the heroes. Again, let me know what you guys think of the new Slayers family. I'd always be interested to hear your thoughts on these heroes. I personally like them both, and I think they're a great addition to the portal. But that being said, I'll let you all get to playing through the event. Enjoy yourselves, have fun, play for fun, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.